Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Teresa from the blog freetoflower.com, and today I am inviting you along with me to the farmhouse to spend a beautiful spring day making things in the kitchen, collecting flowers outside, and just enjoying the glorious weather on the homestead. Come along!
Late spring and early summer are my favorite times of year here at the farm. Everything comes into bloom, the garden is starting up, the weather is beautiful, and so we get to spend all of our time outdoors. But together with that comes a fairly large amount of work at the farm. We have our broiler chickens, we have the garden, we have our horses, the season is just simply in full swing. And while I love that, there are days that I feel tired and my to-do list just seems to be getting longer and I feel like I'm not getting to the end of it. So I've been pondering this concept lately of choosing to see the beauty even in the mundane and overwhelming times that maybe don't feel perfect in the moment, but looking back, they make amazing memories. This day was a prime example. I was gifted a bunch of rhubarb from a dear friend. I wasn't expecting it. It was a great surprise, but my day was already packed full. But I decided to make the most of it and just stock up on all the rhubarb recipes. So I made a delicious rhubarb crisp and some rhubarb oatmeal bars. Both of those were delicious. I have the recipes up on my blog. I will link it in the description box below. One thing that kind of threw me off while I was making this recipe is that I ran out of butter midway. And this is when I decided to see the beauty instead of being frustrated. We live in a very small European village, and one of the perks is that I can just scoop up the baby in the stroller and walk about 5 minutes down to the local store, buy a few pounds of butter, and then get right back to my cooking. Being able to get somewhere on foot is definitely one of my favorite things about living in Europe versus living in the US. Our little village has a lot of things to offer, and the convenience store is just extremely convenient. If you've never tasted rhubarb before, it can have a slightly sour taste to it. So it's important to add sugar or honey or other sweeteners to your sweet recipes. Otherwise it will turn out pretty sour, but when made correctly, it is absolutely delicious, and it has the perfect combination of sour and sweet that we really, really enjoy. One way that I choose to see the beauty in the mundane is reminding myself of all the things that I had prayed for in the past when I was much younger, and all the things that are now coming true for me. I have always loved spending time at my family's farm, and I never felt like I got to do it enough. There was school and there were other responsibilities that I had, and it always felt like as soon as I got settled in and got into my horse riding and my other farm activities, it was time to leave. Being able to live here full time now truly is a dream come true for me. And most days, I don't ever feel like going anywhere or leaving. People sometimes ask us if we ever get tired of living in a small village and living on a farm, doing the work day after day. And yes, there are definitely days when I feel drained and tired at the end of the day. But overall, I choose the motto of creating the life that I don't feel like I need a vacation from. And I'm so grateful to say that about 90% of the time, my life truly does fall into this category. If you want to experiment with rhubarb recipes as well and want to see what I made, I'm going to link those two in the description box below so that you can go ahead and try making your own Rhubarb Crisp or Rhubarb Oat Bars. While my stuff was in the oven, I took a little break and nursed Edwin. He is almost 8 months. We nurse on a schedule, and I love that. I love knowing when things happen throughout my day. It allows me to get more things done and have my time be a little bit more predictable. I know this doesn't work for everybody and that mothers choose to do this in all sorts of ways. I think whatever works for you is probably the right thing to do. For me, I love knowing that when it's 11, it's time for me to sit down and take a break and nurse the baby. One major project that we have going on this year is our new garden. We've had a garden for a while. We've had a greenhouse, we've had some raised beds, but this year we are converting our conventional garden to a permaculture garden. We are brand new to permaculture gardening, but I have to say so far it's going really well. We actually had a professional make our plan for our garden, which was extremely helpful since we tried to do it ourselves, but my gosh, it can be pretty complex. So if you're somebody who's trying to look into permaculture gardening, don't feel bad if you are overwhelmed. We were too, but getting a plan made definitely helped us. It is a plan that will probably take us about 3 years to fulfill, but we are very excited to have made a start. So we added a bunch of raised beds. We are planting our plants in a way where they complement each other. So everything goes together with a companion plant that in one way or another helps the other plants grow, which is extremely promising. I am really hoping for great results, limiting pests, all of that kind of thing. And one of the elements of our garden is this wattle fence. Now, the reason why we are fencing it in is because our permaculture garden is going to involve some chickens and ducks that are going to help us keep some unwanted weeds and pests at bay. But we don't want them getting into our vegetables and into our raised beds. So this wattle fence is a natural looking fence that we made completely by hand that is going to keep the chickens out of the vegetable area. This was our first time making a wattle fence. I've never done it. I've only seen it, I think, one other time. But we looked up a bunch of tutorials online, and we are so fortunate. We have a lady helping us at the farm. She is adorable. We love her. She is basically like a grandma to my kids, and she is from the Ukraine. And it turns out that wattle fences are still very common in the Ukraine, and they make them all the time. So I was so glad that she came along and helped us. First of all, source all of those sticks. We had to get a lot of sticks. But then she showed me the method for weaving the wattle fence together so that it actually sticks and looks good. I will be writing a whole blog post about it. When that's ready, I will link it in the description box below. This was fairly easy to do, and mostly it cost no money. We were able to source all of those sticks from the local forests. The only thing we had to buy were the stakes that we drove into the ground. If you enjoy following along our simple life on our European farm, from scratch cooking, gardening, and animals, please hit the subscribe button down below so you never miss a new video. I'll speak to you all next week.